Welcome back to another episode of Sacred Wild Man. My name is Roy. Today, what is the one thing that men need that women cannot give them? Honor. Women cannot give men honor. Now, this was something I was journaling about the other day, and I was surprised at how much emotion it was stirring up for me. And I think sometimes that just happens in a period of your life where you're going through these changes or deep realizations about yourself, that some of these things hit you a little bit harder than they would otherwise. And so in this video, I want to communicate that piece of what I discovered as I was journaling, because I think other men out there need to hear this. And though this message is mainly addressed towards men, I imagine women will benefit from hearing it as well. So honor. What is honor? Looking up in the dictionary, you might find definitions about esteem, pride, self-respect. And I would say pride and self-respect all fit within honor. But one of the definitions I really liked was about the sense of fidelity to oneself, fidelity to your own morals, your own convictions, and a commitment to those values, those morals, or those ideals, those principles. To me, that hits at home what honor means to me. And surveying the world, examining myself and my own history, what I seem to notice for a lot of men is that we have started to put so much of our sense of identity, purpose, significance on women. It is no longer self-sourced, but it is outsourced. Many men, especially the nice guys, and recovering nice guy myself, are asking questions like, does she like me? Will she like me more and approve of me if I do this or become this? And so his entire life becomes an effort at being something for someone else, in the grand hopes that he will finally win her approval, whether that's a romantic partner that he hopes to then marry, or just women at large, right? Because the dominating tone out there, especially in the social political landscape, is that women think men are pigs, that all men are evil, are rapists, and that masculinity is toxic. That's a dominating theme out there, the dominating sentiment. So, of course, for the men with the good hearts, right, because trying to be something for someone else, there is a small percentage in there where it is loving of, all right, I'm getting this negative feedback. I want to see what I can do to make this better, to alleviate it, to fix it. And many men have taken this too far, where they've completely lost a sense of themselves. They no longer know who they are, or what they're about, what their principles are, and what ground they stand on. They let women determine that. And then we wonder why relationships are so miserable, right? Especially when men do what women say or think they want men to do, or how they want men to be. That's always going to be shifting. And she herself might not even know what she wants. She'll say one thing, but actually feel another, right? And so if you just take that at face value, because for men, we're more rational, logical, linear. It's like, oh, okay, so she says A, that must mean I must do B in order for it to be better, when that may not be the case at all. Many of the interactions that I've had with women on Instagram talking on this topic of relationships between men and women have also shared with me, there are so many times in my life where I really needed a man to say no to me. Even if that wasn't what I wanted to hear in the moment, I needed to hear a no. I needed somebody to draw a boundary because I wasn't going to do it myself. Okay? But that seems so counterintuitive to what a lot of men are told these days. So, in that regard, men have lost their ground. They have lost their sense of self and their sense of honor. Right? There is no more fidelity to his own morals, commitments, convictions, or principles anymore. Perhaps the highest principle has become be likable, be approved of. And to me, that isn't a very worthy principle. That's not honorable because it's outsourced. There's no strong sense of self there. It's formulated around what do other people think, and I will be that. Which usually leads to everybody being upset. Another area that I find that men have lost honor is in relationship to women, but also to the world at large when we talk about, let's say, jobs. It seems more and more men are just cogs in a machine. Right? Follow orders, do what you're told, and you're a good boy. Right? The work environment or government has now become a big mother complex. So men will say, all right, may not agree with everything here, but I'm just going to do my job and do what I'm told. Follow orders. Forget my own convictions, my own sense of honor. I got to pay the bills. I got to have money so I can splurge on some things that I like, buy, seek pleasure, material. He loses his sense of honor. So where do men get any sense of honor, pride, self-respect, and purpose these days? My answer is fucking nowhere. It does not exist in this society that we live in today. Men are losing any sense of honor and self-respect and purpose. It's like they've lost the light behind their eyes. They've lost any fire in their heart, and they have no erectness or vitality in their cocks anymore. They're just floating around. Is this good enough for you? Does this make you happy and fulfilled? Does this give you a sense of purpose? A sense of being of service to the world? Because I think the truth is, many of you, men watching, many of the men out there, I myself have experienced it, distract ourselves from this reality. We overeat, overconsume, we watch, binge. We're addicts trying to distract ourselves from this hole. None of that is going to replace it. None of that is going to drive it away. If you feel anxious, if you feel unrest, if you feel uncomfortable watching this, it's because you probably should. That some part of you in there already knows what I'm talking about. And I just happen to be the asshole who's triggering this in you right now as I'm talking about it. This is a necessary confrontation, and I've needed it within myself. Many men need it in our society today. Because as long as we ignore this, right, we don't develop, we don't claim and forge our sense of honor, self-respect, pride, commitment to these principles, virtues, we're continually going to go deeper and deeper down the hole. Depressed, anxious, miserable. And then we try to attach ourselves to a woman, saying to her, please give me significance. Or what are you doing? What's your mission and purpose in life? Let me just attach myself to that. Is it any wonder in those scenarios why women feel the ick with men? Because her sense is, well, and that's a whole separate story, but just to keep it simple, let's say she's a boss babe, okay? She's building and developing well. But then she's finding all these men are, there's no spine there. Then of course she's not going to be attracted to that. There's another piece on the whole boss babes dynamic and how that affects women and their feminine core, but that's not for this video. But you're beginning to see this landscape, right, of the state of men. You cannot get honor from a woman. She might inspire and encourage you, but that's only because honor already exists within you, and her inspiration and encouragement awakens that. It fans the flames there. You reawaken and remind yourself, oh yeah, I remember who I am. As Zan Perion said so well, the size of your questions reflect the size of your life. If you're just asking, do women like me? Do they approve of me? Am I good enough for women? That's a small life. If you ask a question of, who am I? What am I about? What kind of impact do I have and do I want to have on the world? What kind of legacy do I want to leave behind that I'd be proud to see? Whether or not I ever end up with a woman, whether or not women ever like or approve of me, I can stare at that and point and say, you know what? Fucking proud of that. That's a more important question. And that's a much more fulfilled and bigger life. So we do need to change the questions that we're asking ourselves as men these days. You will never receive or be gifted honor by a woman that will then give you a sense of, okay, I'm an honorable man now. If she bestows that upon you, it's because she already sees that within you. But it's not just given so freely, especially if you as a man are not claiming that for yourself. If you have not developed and refined honor within yourself. Looking at the places where you're out of integrity and making a conscious effort to change that. Women honor honorable men. So you must find that within yourself first. And again, it doesn't mean you can't be inspired or encouraged by women. But the idea is you need to go out into the world and figure out what you're made of. See what you can do by your own hands. Because through that process, this hero's journey, with many of the ups and downs, failures, heartbreak, heartache, and victories, sometimes small, sometimes big, that's where you will come to know who you are and what you're about. That's where you will hone your sense of honor. And I know for myself, and I'm sure men watching this can relate, I can't rest and be at peace with myself if I have not gone out into the world to see, do I have what it takes? What am I actually made of? And I don't feel I can look a woman that I would want to marry in the eyes properly if I have not found that for myself. She can't give it to me. And perhaps, let's say if there's some women watching this and think, okay, well, that's just a man's pride and insecurity. He should just be able to receive my unconditional love. I get that, and yet the truth is that's not the case. He must find it for himself. Because when he comes back to you, it's not because oh, you will give me comfort, and that's all I need. You're not going to be happy with that as a woman. When he comes back, it's because he comes back saying, look what I figured out. Look at the power that I've realized within myself and how I've contributed to the world. Yeah, I'm a man of purpose. I'm a man of honor. And that's what inspires her. Not the fact that he just wants comfort from her and approval from her. That's not inspiring. So, is it a man's pride? Yeah, it is. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. He cannot locate his sense of significance solely in you. And if any man does do that, it's going to be a problem real soon. So that's all for this video. As I experienced journaling on this topic myself, and what I want to extend to any of the men watching this, is that I want to bring the light back into your eyes. I want to fan the flames in your heart again. And I want you to find that erectness, vitality back in your cock again. And to straighten your spine a little bit more. Because that's desperately needed in our times. No, the future is not only female, it is also male. And so, men, if you hear the call, if you hear, the beckoning and the stirring in your heart, answer it. Because you'll pay a price if you don't answer it. You'll also pay a price if you do answer it. But my guess is you already know that there's more to be gained from answering the call than just ignoring it for the rest of your life, for another year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.